Kingfisher's been training for this day, so he says. We'll see whether the training's going to pay off or not. I mean, he is facing Space Marines, so, you know, good luck Imperial Guard and all that, but very pink-looking Space Marines. Slightly odd. FC on Sewell Frontier against Kingfisher's Lord Commissar. I love this map for IG. I think it's a great IG map. It's not a bad SM map as well, though. I always point out that the distance from the base to the gen farm is very low. But what gives the SM Tac Flamers an even bigger advantage in the gen bashing is the fact that the distance from the base all the way down to these peripheral VPs is actually quite large. So it's often the case that the opponent will overextend their way up to the top to fight around here, and forget that your attacks can just sneak through, boom, and attack the gen farm. Nice shield timing there from Kingfisher to dodge the special attack coming out of the Force Commander. And kind of cool to initiate this game with a Lord Commissar Force Commander duel. I'm pretty sure the Force Commander wins this, just because the FC does 40 DPS by default. Lord Commissar only does 30. 600 plus 250 is 850 versus 820. I think the FC should win, but maybe the special attacks will win it for the Commissar. Oh, we're not going to know because the Tactical Marines are coming to interrupt it. Fucking hell. No, I don't think you can win with the tac shooting you. There's no way. Yeah, so they've ruined the duel. Damn. We were going to have a great little duel there. Scouts hiding away in the building over here. Fast devs coming out for Sard. And Scout's going to be routed quite promptly there without really any losses. Pretty typical thing so far. There's not really much you can do when you're fighting 2 Guardsmen and a Sentinel and you've only got Tacs and Scouts. Though ideally you'd send the Scouts to help the Force Commander beat the Commissar, and then your Tacs can do more things, like if the Tacs were in the building here, they wouldn't get so easily routed by the Sentinel. But, you know, whatever. He didn't take any bleed, he's not lost his gen farm, and he's not doing terrible on map control. Sard still has some map control. No upgrades yet for the Commissar or the Force Commander, instead we're getting the tier 1.5, both players matching one another with setup teams. Whereas the Heavy Weapons team, it's really far back for the IG here, but actually very aggressively moving his Devastators forward here, Sard. A big mistake, because he doesn't have the DPS to force off the Commissar. He was going to get into melee and tie them up. But Kingfisher, very slow to react over here with his Heavy Weapons team, should be a lot more aggressive with them, I think. I'm not really sure the value of having the Guardsmen loitering over there. I guess they want to wait for some Scouts to turn up and beat them. I'd probably have them down here in the blob fighting. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter that much. Oh, they're going for a flank. That could work out quite well. While the Force Commander went down there, why did he go so far forward? I'm not entirely sure. And the flanking Guardsman there with a bayonet charge, forcing the Devastators into retreat. And they're upgrading to Flamers. Very timely. Nice play from Kingfisher. This is an amazing start for him. Heavy Weapons team still in play with full HP, and a last turret being dropped down as well. Probably a little bit too far back on the last turret there. You probably want to drop it like here, so it can actually shoot at the generators. And so that it covers your Guardsmen more whilst they're bashing. This doesn't really help your Guardsmen, it's too far back. If it was here, it'd be able to shoot stuff over here, which should help your Guardsmen a bit more. Also, you can say the same thing about the Heavy Weapons team. Notice how the Heavy Weapons team there just did a shitload of damage to the Sentinel. You've got to be careful of that. You don't want to send your you do not want to stand your Sentinel in front of your Heavy Bolter. ASM are on the field. This is the build against the IG at the moment, the 1111 build. That will of course do good things, deal with the Heavy Weapons team. You often want to layer your Heavy Weapons team with your last turret for that reason, so in that sense the positioning here of the last turret isn't terrible. Last turret right now should be focusing on the Devastators, they're the primary target. Less durable than the Tactical Marines. But I guess he really wants to see if he can bleed a model before it goes down. And going to be a no. Guardsmen kind of getting flipped around here by the ASM, who are going to retreat out without a model loss. That's okay for them. Just got a couple of models off these Guardsmen. These Guardsmen not having their Sergeant yet. Kingfisher is able to go tier 2 right now, honestly. Probably should. He's in a great spot. He's bashed his opponent. Wow, this is, yeah, ill-advised. He's bashed his foe. He's ahead in map control. He's obviously going to be ahead in economy because he spent a lot less than his foe, who has purchased the ASM in addition to the Devastator squad. And with a bash, you know that you're significantly ahead in tech, so yeah, let's do it. Let's go. As he gets into tier 2, probably is worth upgrading these Guardsmen Sergeants to have a bit more map presence. We'll see. Normally, you wouldn't really be going for a fast Chimera with upgraded Guardsmen, but it is actually, it would be brutal here because he's so far ahead in tech. In an evenly skilled game, or at least where it was an even game up to the point of getting the tier 2, it wouldn't be like this. You wouldn't be getting this far ahead in tier 2 as the IG compared to the SM. I mean, it's certainly not good that the SM has been able to bash 0 IG gens, but the IG, in fact, has been bashing the SM. That's not good at all for the SM. So it presents an opportunity where a Chimera rush with upgraded Guardsmen with plasma guns could just be a game changer. But we'll see. The Primaris Psyker is obviously completely broken right now. You have to get him. It's going to be able to control single entities extremely well with its starting ability. Shockwave is great to disrupt the Devastators. In general, its basic attack does really good damage to Devastators. Oh, he goes for the fast Commissar. Okay, fine. I'm for it. I'm for it. Has he got the Commissar on this one? No, he's got a Sergeant on this one. Oh, that's weird. Is he fully upgrading both of them? I'm not sure. No upgrades for his Commie yet. Chimera nearly on the way. Nearly out, sorry, it is on the way. Guardsmen here need to be careful getting knocked over by the ASM, but lucky, or maybe not lucky as much as Sard kind of messed up his jump there, didn't knock over 3 of the models. Probably would have wiped them otherwise, to be honest. But there you go, the Chimera's on the field. Probably just want to put the Lord Commissar inside that bad boy. To activate all the side las turrets, you need 1 unit inside of it. So the Commissar could fulfill that role. Well, right now, chopping up the tax to get them out of cover would be better. Sard is nearly tier 2 as well. He never replaced his gen over there, which is very strange. He's going to be lacking in power for that reason. Tax just chilling in cover here, so they're not really taking that much damage from the Chimera. Chimera probably wants to go forward and break all that cover, but right now it's being slightly deterred by the Vengeance rounds. And here we go, instant las cannon. Not going to be able to kill the Chimera though. Certainly not with flanking Plasma Commissar Guardsmen either. The ASM are going to go in, but the Chimera should just drive over, allow the Guardsmen to get inside. Be careful with your Sentinel missiles though, that will hurt the Guardsmen. I don't know what this is all about. Why do they have 10 models with the Commissar? Huh. Is that a bug? They shouldn't, right? They're only meant to get +2 models. Why would the Sergeant and the Commissar Guardsman be any different? This is very strange. He doesn't have the Sergeant, does he? Oh, this is weird. This actually might make the Commissar Guardsman without the Sergeant even better, the fact that they have 10. But you only have 1 leader. The leaders have higher pop. I think the Sergeant has 2 pop, the Commissar... No. Sergeant has 3, the Commissar has 2? Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe the Sergeant's only 1 as well. But we're getting another duel here between the Commissar and the Force Commander. It seems the Force Commander had really low HP in the first place. Scouts over here just going to run inside the building. Even though they would, of course, like to take this VP. We've got a very defensible position here in the middle. With the Sentinel, the Dual Guardsman, the Chimera, and the Heavy Weapons team. But defensible positions equals plasma devs. And mean, that's how you counter them, right? You get artillery if the enemy's camping in a defensive position. You get artillery and you blast them out of that position, but Sard needs something to dislodge the IG because he is behind quite tremendously right now. Check it out, 180 VPs down for him. He does have the melter bombs there on the ASM now. He has a sergeant on his tactical marines, but no missile launcher on them. I would have liked to have seen the guardsman retreat earlier there and get out of the melee from the ASM and then execute with the commissar. Yeah, so I'm just going to be able to tie up the heavy weapons team. They don't have the energy for a melter bomb right now, but the guardsman will be able to retreat. Okay, I'm wrong. They retreat quite easily. I guess the summary execution doesn't have the cooldown like the execution from the Lord Commissar. The last cannon is in range of the Chimera and going to be combined with a plasma cannon right now. And with the For the Emperor damage buff, that little combo there is enough damage to spike down the Chimera, immediately killing it. But Sard needs to get moving fast. He is very far behind on VPs now with a triple cap against him. His Force Commander manages to flank in and force off the heavy bolter heavy weapons team, but scouts were unable to do anything bottom due to the presence of Flaming Guardsmen. Still, 3-0 cap in favour of Kingfisher. Kingfisher, on the other hand, floating an absolutely absurd amount of resources. I don't know what the hell that's all about. Needs to get more units onto the field, but instead is opting to tech for tier 3. I would have got a primary psycho a long time ago. I think that's kind of mindless against Space Marines, in particular the Force Commander. But there's always, you know, units that are just good generalist utility units, like the Assault Kit Stormtroopers that you could have purchased. Anyway, he's going tier 3. He'll have plenty of things to spend money on when he reaches tier 3. The typical combo is to get a nice late game powerful infantry unit in tandem with your tank, so the enemy has to get anti-vehicle counters and also anti-elite infantry counters. A little bit of a misplay here from Sard, not capping the VP. And that combination for the IG would be the Lehman Russ battle tank in combination with the Kassakin squad. So we'll see. For the Emperor, P-Dev's trying to do it again, but the Sentinel's moving too quick. If they can get a nice clean hit on a Guardsman squad, they'll do some tremendous damage. Sard totally out of red though now, with that For the Emperor. Bit ambitious that one, I don't really like it, because it's not like they were in a pitched firefight. No, he hits it there. If only he had the For the Emperor there, the Sentinel would be dying, but it dies anyway to a las cannon shot. Kingfisher losing a lot of units here, but he flanks around here with his Commissar, who's still got no war gear. A solo ASM over there. Really should be going up and putting on some more map control pressure. Sterngard, honestly, can just punch that Commissar to death. They shouldn't have disengaged. They would have killed him for sure with their damage over time Hellfire rounds. Whoops. They're going to run up and punch these guys with the plasma guns. They're not enjoying the plasma to the face, unfortunately. They're walking into a heavy bolter, which doesn't work out too well for them. Can the P-Devs reach the heavy bolter? No, they can't from there. Oh dear. But they will be able to reach the Plasma Guardsman. Plasma Guardsman needs to be careful. Oh god! Jesus! Sterngard, fire! Stand and fire. The Hellfire rounds killing the Commissar there that tried to flee after all of his men got annihilated by that P-Dev. I don't know how Kingfisher didn't see that P-Dev. There's no way it was out of line of sight. Very sloppy play there from Kingfisher. ASM finally did something up top, took the VP, and it looks like the scouts have managed to take the VP down, but Sard is now utilising his last cannon devastators to put pressure onto the gens. Kingfisher is going to be going for a Stormlord tank, but Sard is going tier 3 himself. I smell a misuse of a super unit here, and Sard winning this game in a glorious comeback. That's what I'm smelling. We'll see. He's got a lot of potential tools. Stormlord, all the super heavy tanks, really good at range trading from afar, but they're very vulnerable to being flanked, especially by heavy melee. Well, the Force Commander can get a teleporter pack, and he can get a Power Fist, and if you just get the Terminator Force Commander armor for him in tier 3, then you get both in one, basically, and a massive increase to your HP, so I would recommend that. charge the Stormlord with the Terminator Force Commander and just punch it to death with your Power Fist. And of course you can teleport behind it as well. That will help deal with the Heavy Weapons team too. Not that you should really need help dealing with the Heavy Weapons team when you've got a Plasma Cannon. The Plasma Cannon itself would be very good against the Stormlord for chip damage. But of course in a 1v1 situation the Stormlord will just walk up to it and annihilate it because the Stormlord's got way more health. But the fact that the Stormlord is such a big target means that the P-Dev will find it quite easy to hit the Stormlord. But you don't want to be in front of that Vulcan Mega Bolter. It will melt you, even if you are a Space Marine. This is not where the P-Dev wants to be. It's going to get one shot and then it needs to retreat. Yes, there we go. There is the potential, of course, for Assault Terminators as well, called in by the Force Commander, that his exclusive variant. The Thunderhammer and Storm Shield variant. Vanguard Veterans coming in too. Nice, okay. That's kind of cool. Very powerful melee Space Marines here. But the nice thing there was his ASM were down to 2 models as well, so he basically got 2 models reinforced for free, which is really nice because Sard needs so many things right now, and he is super low on resources. He's making Kingfisher bleed VPs very fast though, of course, with this triple cap. Kingfisher, not really sure why he's gen bashing right now. That definitely is not the priority. He probably wants to be parking his Stormlord up here and then distributing Guardsmen to take each of the VPs. Stormlord, if you're not aware, is a variant of the Baneblade chassis that allows you to reinforce off of it. So very good synergy with Guardsmen. Of course, unfortunately, that Kingfisher only has 1 Guardsman squad now. He did pick up the Power Sword and the Carapace Armor as well. The tanky melee hero upgrades to the Lord Commissar, but they are tier 1 tanky melee hero upgrades, so not going to be that impactful when you're facing Vanguard Veterans, for example. And we do have the Terminator Force Commander. I like to see it. Even the Terminator Force Commander, though, going to take a lot of damage from a Mega Vulcan Bolter. Scouts are still in play. Good preservation of them from Sard, and I like this elite training infiltration. Gaining line of sight here. Obviously Kingfisher can't see them. Kingfisher apparently going for an Ogrin squad now. Probably going to turn them into Bullgrins, given that most of the threats here are ranged with the Tax, Devs, P-Devs, Stern Guard, but Vanguard Veterans with their power melee ensemble here, double power swords, a lightning claw and a thunderhammer, all power melee, will do really good damage to Bullgrins in melee. Or Ogrins for that matter. I really don't think Ogrins would be a good idea because they get 2-shot by the P-Devs. They're also going to suffer against Vanguard, so they do terrible. So you've got to go Bullgrins because they're a bit tankier, but yeah, they'll still get kind of battered in a one-on-one fight against Vanguard, so I don't know. I think Sard's got a really good composition right now. He just needs to play around this Stormlord somehow. Problem for him right now is that these Guardsmen are just going to reinforce off of it, and you can see no cover for his Tactical Space Marines here. They just get shredded. He's got for the Emperor on the las cannon. The Stormlord is just charging forward. We've got the flare going down to reduce the range, and that has got the las cannon completely shut down. Oh my god, melting them with a Mega Vulcan Bolter. Nearly wipes them. Not quite. All the Marines going to have to wrap them. Oh, he does get them with the side heavy bolter. Yikes. Needs a bit of melee pressure while that was going on, but the Terminator Force Commander was down. But Vanguards are up top. You can get a Power Fist on the Vanguards instead of the Thunderhammer, which would give him a little bit more heavy melee presence. Kingfisher so low on resources right now that he can't even afford the Bonehead leader for his Ogrin squad, even though he's had them on the field for quite some time. So that was a bit of an unfortunate situation for Sard, but really the worst thing for him is the fact that he's so low on VPs. He's only got 66 VPs, and the Ogrins are now heading down bottom. The Scouts see this, but they can't really do anything about it. They're going to go in and start kicking some heavy weapons team squads, but that's a bit of an anemic fight over there, neither of them really achieving a whole lot. No plasma gun on the Tactical Marines. These bolters, the Ogrins just get tickled by bolters, they don't really care. The Kraken rounds of the Stern Guard will do some reasonable damage. I don't think they should be tanking this, no. They got the decap, that's fine. Stops Kingfisher from having his things bled. His VP's bled. For looking at the situation here for Sard, he has enough resources other than red to call in Assault Terminator. So he probably wants to be farming red, killing guardsmen. If he has to sacrifice some tactical marines, which only cost requisition to reinforce, that's fine. And yeah, do a nice decisive push. If he can snare the Stormlord with his las cannon, it's going to be extremely slow, and when it's extremely slow, it's vulnerable to power fists or very powerful Terminator Thunderhammers, especially with rear armor. Remember, it takes extra damage when you hit it in the rear, so that would be the way to execute this damn annoying chunk of metal. But he needs to get the snare, really, otherwise it's not going to be that effective. Oh, he can't get the snare, he lost the las cannon! Oh, fuck, that's not good. It's going to missile launcher on the tax here, but you need to distract the Stormlord first. And now we've got Bogrins. So they're going to be really good at tying up these ranged marines with their slab shields protecting them, making them take less range damage by default. They also have more HP than Ogrins. And they also have electronic components inside those shields that can suppress nearby troops. And you see there, they shut down the two marine squads quite easily. Now the Vanguard Veterans, though, as I say, are the counter for sure. Bogrins are meant for being ranged tanks, essentially, tanking ranged damage, but they're not very good melee duelists. They don't do that much damage. They don't have on-demand knockback. Wow, how have they got 4 models with so little HP? That's kind of insane. I feel like one decent plasma cannon shot right now is going to kill them all. Oh, it kills 3 of them. We did get the Assault Terminators, but this is not the engagement that we were looking for. It's really not. You can't attack the guardsmen, they're just going to reinforce off the Stormlord. That's a terrible idea. Okay, well, somehow he persuades them to go inside the Stormlord, which is weird. They really didn't need to. They could have just ran away. The Stormlord's Mega Vulcan Bolter is Inferno damage, so will do great damage to the Terminators, even if the Terminators can shrug off the heavy bolter shots quite easily. Yeah, now the Lord Commissar's coming over, and he's got power melee from his sword, so yeah, that's not good. He needed to attack with the Terminator as well, with his power fist. And then, when the Stormlord's having to drive backwards, shooting at the nearest targets to it, and these guys are tanking, that's when you can output some range damage with your Stern Guard and your missile launcher, using the Vanguard then to protect those aforementioned units from the Bogrins. Oh, he lost his scouts at some point as well. The heavy weapons team down here was guarding that position and got meleeed off by the Tactical Space Marines. I think Kingfisher's gonna win it, because the execution here from Sard to take out the Stormlord was lacking. Commissar managing to sneak in and take out the P-Devs. Stormlord rotates and rips them to pieces. Plasma Guardsman taking the central VP, and the Bogrins taking the top VP. I'm afraid Storm Bolter against these Bogrins, as you can see, not really doing anything. It's piercing damage against super heavy infantry that already take reduced range damage, so yeah. Good luck. He picks up the Lightning Claws. I don't know why, really. I mean, great tool against Bogrins or the Lord Commissar, but it's not really the threat right now. You need to kill this Stormlord, and he can't. He's going to call in a drop pod to reinforce his sterns and his tacks for cheaper, but just lacking in manpower, really. Terminator's not even fully healed, and they're having to come out again because he's only got 35 VPs left. He also doesn't have any units to protect the bottom, and now the heavy weapons team's coming back out and it's just going to capture that bottom, that bottom VP. So, I don't know what he can do. He can't really do anything, and there is a bunker drop down by Kingfisher as well, and that's going to secure the game. Just too much damage and too much HP on that Stormlord. But, you know, it was definitely possible with that composition for Sard to win. he finally got the Terminators, and he sent them solo against the Stormlord, which was not the play. You know, you need a snare, really. The snare is a game changer, so the Stormlord can't kite anywhere near as easily. And even if you're not going to get the snare, like I say, if you just allow the Stormlord to have a ranged firefight with your tactical marines, I mean, imagine it in real life. You've got your wonderful anti-tank missile, but you're standing in front of the tank and it's shooting at you. You're not going to last very long, are you? So, you know, you can hurt the tank, but you're literally going to die instantly. It's not going to work. You need something to distract it first, and that's what these melee units are for. You've seen how long the Terminators were standing in front of this Stormlord, eating its Mega Vulcan Bolter and tanking. Imagine a Terminator Force Commander, in addition to that, round the back of it, path blocking it, smashing it in rear armor, getting extra damage with the Power Fist, and then the Stern Guard and the Missile Launcher attacks come in. You then split them up, so the Bullgryns can only tie one of them up, and then whichever one the Bullgryns tie up, you jump on the Bullgryns with your Vanguard, and then the Vanguard can beat the Bullgryns one-on-one. So, you know, Kingfisher obviously losing his Guardsman earlier on, enabled that play to work. If Kingfisher had a full roster here, then it wouldn't work. He wouldn't kill the Stormlord, you know, because he'd have too many Guardsmen. The Plasma Guardsman would be melting your Stern Guard. They'd be able to repair it, blah, 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 blah. Psycho would stun your Terminator Force Commander or snare your Terminator so they can't catch the Stormlord, and so on and so forth. But Kingfisher didn't have that. After all, the only reason he got the Stormlord out was because he went for a fast tech in the first place. I don't know, folks. There you go. That's going to be all for your boy Torpid this time. I hope you did enjoy it. Please leave a comment if you did enjoy it so that we get boosted in the algorithm. We're actually getting around 1,500 views or so per video now, but we want 2,000. So leave the comments so that we can get 2,000. That's going to be all from me today. I am signing out.